All right, so we've already talked about Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. Now we're going to talk about the last three parts of Oceania, and they are, of course, all of the islands found in the Pacific. They are divided into three regions: Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesia. Polynesia is, of course, the biggest one. It also includes New Zealand, Micronesia, and then you have Melanesia, which also includes Papua New Guinea, but we're going to kind of exclude those. We're just going to talk about these other islands. Now, some of these islands in Polynesia don't really belong technically in this region. For example, if you go up top here, the Hawaiian Islands are actually a state that goes over here with North America, with the United States, but they are in the Polynesian region in the Pacific. Okay? All right, the word Polynesia means many islands, and if we go back to the map, clearly you can see there are many islands in this large region in the Pacific Ocean. These you are not going to have to identify where they're at, but there's going to be a matching section so you can match these islands with each of the regions of Polynesia, Micronesia, or Melanesia. So the many islands region, or Polynesia, has American Samoa. It is not independent. Clearly it's controlled by the United States with a name like American Samoa. You have the Cook Islands, named after Captain James Cook, that are controlled by New Zealand. French Polynesia, which of course is controlled by France. Jarvis Island, controlled by the United States. Johnston Island, controlled by the United States. Kiribati is an independent group of islands. Midway Island, controlled by the U.S. Pitcairn, controlled by the U.K. Tonga is an independent country. Tuvalu, also independent. And Samoa, also known as Western Samoa, is independent. Now again, it includes places like Hawaii and New Zealand, but they're not going to be in the matching because we're going to talk about New Zealand all by itself. And of course, Hawaii is a state, so that doesn't get included in Oceania. Now, you can see a lot of these are controlled by other regions. The point of this is many of these places, like Midway Island, of course, were islands that we started controlling in World War II after Japan attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor. And so we needed to have military bases and strategic locations in case we needed to, reciprocate more attacks later on with Japan and other potential enemies. All right, the next region is Micronesia, and that is the furthest north one for regions, so it's clearly not as big as Polynesia. Micronesia, micro meaning small, so it means small islands, and if you look back at the map, again, you hardly can see any dots even on the map. Some of them, yes, are small in other regions like Polynesia and Melanesia, but these are even more extremely small. The Federated States of Micronesia, obviously that should be an easy one to match up because it has the word Micronesia in its name. You have Gilbert Islands. You have Guam, which of course is controlled by the United States. Marshall Islands, Nauru, Northern Marianas, controlled by the United States, and the Trust Territory of the Pacific Island, also known as Palau, controlled by the United States. The Wake Islands, Wake Island is controlled by the United States as well. And so those are the 8 that you need to know for Micronesia. Melanesia, the last region, which is just north of Australia and includes Papua New Guinea, are known as the Black Islands, and it has nothing to do with the people and their skin. It has everything to do with there are a lot more black sand beaches on these islands because there's a lot of volcanic activity. So Fiji, one of my bucket list locations, is in this region. New Caledonia, controlled by France, Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu. And then again, it includes Papua New Guinea, but they are their own separate country that we're going to identify.